Hi, I come to you today from a very cold office. I was asked a question this week. I thought it would be great to respond via video. It is whether someone can do a PhD within the time and containing sort of their hours, not doing too much overtime. I've given some thought to this. I think it's a yes, but, and I've got 4 buts. So first of all, it's important to say it's very discipline specific. In my area, the current requirements are usually 3 years that you get to do your PhD. You get an extra half a year grace period, I think, but you have to apply for it. So there's usually some reasons behind that. There are significant delays in a lot of PhDs for various reasons, such as data collection or data access. And the idea is that within that time, you're expected to do a minimum of 5 publications and most of them to have been submitted or published. So keeping that in mind, that's the minimum requirement for a PhD in my department. That's my understanding. So the 4 buts. First of all, first but is prerequisite skills or knowledge. So if you're starting a PhD in a new area without any knowledge on the topic, that's probably the first item or first thing that's going to prevent you from finishing on time. Having a good understanding of the topic area or knowledge and the base fundamental theories behind like epidemiology or biostatistics, in my case, would be really helpful in completing a PhD on time. Also, prerequisite skills in publishing. So if you have never published a paper before, it can be really tough to understand what's required, the time it takes for you to produce the first draft, but also the peer review process and the emotional issues that come with that. So when you get your first rejection and all the reviewer comments that you need to reply to, it can be quite tough. And if you've gone through that before your PhD, preferably several times, so more than 1 publication, it means that during your PhD, you don't have to spend that time and that energy learning how to do that. So prerequisite skills is number 1. Number 2 is working relationship with your supervisor. So if you've never worked with your supervisor before, and this is your first time, you're going to have to take some time and energy to work out the best working relationship. It might be a bit more out of your comfort zone. So the way that your supervisor functions might not be the way that you function, and making the most out of your meetings, which I've already posted about, that you can control, but also just understanding how much support you are going to get and where you can get support outside or away from your supervisor. Usually the university will provide a number of courses and documents that you can read about where to get support. So that's a huge learning curve as well. The third thing is productive hours. So when we talk about getting your PhD done on time, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to be working from 9 to 6 with a 1-hour lunch break every day of your PhD, 4 or 5 days a week, and get it done. What I'm talking about is, yes, you can get it done, but you're probably going to have to use your most productive hours towards your PhD. So if that is for you starting at 8 o'clock every morning and utilising the early mornings and potentially finishing at 3 and working on the weekends to make up that extra hours that you're not working past 3 because you know that you're not going to be productive past 3. Those sorts of things, if you put in place during your PhD, you can probably contain your hours. It's not about being in the office. It's about you making sure you get your tasks done to get your PhD. But because of this, because you will be attempting, I guess, to use your most productive hours for your PhD, it means that maybe you would have to give up or sacrifice things away from your PhD that may take some of that energy. You may have interests that don't, but there may be interests that you do have to sacrifice. And also keeping a timesheet, which I'm not going to talk about here. I've got some other hints about timesheets and ways of playing around with your hours to see how it works best for you. But I would say that a lot of people think they're working when they're not working. So really keeping a timesheet and being honest to yourself. So I arrive at the office, say at 9 o'clock. Am I really working at 9 o'clock? Probably not. I probably have to get myself set up. I'd like to get a cup of tea or a drink, just make sure my lunch is in the fridge. And then I start working at 9:15 or 9:30. That's when I clock on. That's what is in my timesheet. So there's a difference with being in the office and when I'm working. If I have a lunch meeting with someone and it's not work related, that isn't counted towards as work hours, and I take them off my timesheet. So those distinctions is really important. There is some research showing that when people are in the office a lot for long hours, or that they tend to overestimate how much they're working. So the hours in the office is not equivalent to how much you're actually working. And with productive hours, one of the things that comes into a bit of prerequisite skills is not procrastinating. It's a really, really important thing to learn in life generally, not procrastinating. And I'm not going to talk about that here, but I'm sure there's lots of other videos that you can find about how to not procrastinate. So the fourth and final thing about, yes, you can finish your PhD on time, but here's really what do you want to get out of your PhD? Because you can do the bare minimum and get it done on time. I'm sure you can do that. But is that going to be enough for what you want to do in the future? Are you going to want to continue in research? Are you going to be competitive to continue in research? Are you wanting a specific job? Is a PhD title enough, or is it going to matter what you've done within that PhD? So you may aim for more publications, you may aim to go to conferences and present your findings and get exposure for your research and really engage with translation of your research findings beyond the scientific community into the media. You may also want to have some experiences like doing internships overseas at other places, other research facilities, at the World Health Organization. There are a lot of opportunities out there that will help you achieve those goals that you can do within your PhD that you can explore. So just to recap, yes, you can get your PhD done on time, but what skills are you bringing to your PhD? And what ones are you going to have to learn within your PhD? What is your working relationship with your supervisor? How can you make that more productive or easier? Third is making sure you're allocating productive hours to your PhD. And fourth is just really ensuring what you're doing during your PhD is going to help you get what you want after your PhD. So thanks.